We're in the Wichita National Forest on the Oklahoma-Arkansas border, about halfway down the border. This area gets over 50 inches of rain a year, in some places up closer to 70, I believe. That's a lot of precipitation. We're really interested in knowing what's going to happen in the future. As temperatures get warmer, then temperatures effectively increase the amount of evaporation and decrease the amount of precipitation left over for trees to be able to use. This is a really interesting place though, because it is in what we could call a warming hole. It actually has not warmed in much of the eastern U.S., and where we're standing right now, we're right on the transition between where the last century has seen warming to the west and has not seen warming to the east. And we're really interested in knowing what's going to happen to these forests if it continues warming in the future, if it begins warming in the future. There's a lot of evidence of forests changing in response to warming. In the southwest, we've seen large die-offs. We've seen areas that are dominated by big, water-hungry trees transition into smaller, more drought-hardy trees. In California, we're seeing large wildfires and bark beetle outbreaks in the Sierra Nevadas as a result of warming. In Idaho and Montana and Wyoming, we're probably seeing the largest influences of warming on forests. We have massive bark beetle outbreaks, and that is believed to be a result of summer warming, as well as a transition from a snow-dominated system to a more rain-dominated system. This is a very interesting place to study the impacts of climate on forests, because these forests are really complex. There's a lot of species here, and they're all constantly battling it out to see who's going to dominate the forest. And so unlike the simpler forests in the west, when you increase the temperature here or decrease the water availability here, rather than see a full die-off of forest in an area, we might expect instead there to be winners and losers. And that would translate into a transition in the type of forest, the transition in the ratio of one species to another. So from all of these trees, we've been extracting tree cores, or which are essentially cross sections, kind of like a biopsy. We put a metal cylinder into the tree. It has a corkscrew blade on the end. We churn it into the tree, and we extract a cylinder of wood. And on that cylinder of wood are a bunch of stripes, and those stripes are tree rings. And each tree grows one tree ring each year, and the width of the ring indicates how much the tree grew during that year. And so if we have a whole tree core that has, say, 100 or 200 tree rings within it, we can produce a record of tree growth over the last century or 2 centuries, or in some cases 3 centuries. We can then compare those records of tree growth to records of climate that we have for the last century or so, and we can tell which species are really sensitive to temperature, which species are really sensitive to precipitation, which species are really sensitive to wind speeds or other climate variables that we have. And in doing that, we may gain some insights into, in a different world where temperatures are warmer, who are the winners and who are the losers. Temperatures in this area actually haven't changed all that much in the last 100 years. And since we know these trees are very sensitive, if we jump into a new world where temperatures are on average 1 or 2 degrees warmer, those trees may suffer. And so what we're doing on this trip is to sample those trees as well as a bunch of other species and see who is the most sensitive, and is there a reason to think that those trees may be losers while other trees may be winners. Well, forests are immensely valuable ecologically. They are the homes to very complicated and diverse flora and fauna systems. And so if you go and chop down large areas of forest or have large areas of forest die off because of warming, then you're going to have a whole bunch of downstream ecological effects. For humans, forests are also really important. They're important as a natural resource. We use lumber for building and for fuel for heating, and we also rely on forests for our natural systems. There are many areas where forests are kind of natural regulators of water flow. And so forests provide a lot of benefits to us, a lot of ecological services as well. And as we see forests change globally, then there are going to be downstream effects in terms of water resources and the overall ecology of the world.